The Ain't No Fang podcast. From Arizona Sports, Ain't No Fang.
Hello, welcome into Ain't No Fang, Arizona Sports Diamondbacks podcast here on a Friday morning before a huge series against the San Diego Padres over at Chase Field. It starts Friday night at 6:40, and good show for you planned today. We're going to start off by introducing a new segment, which is going to be called Do Your Research, where I will take you on my computer screen as we go over, what there is to know about this Padres team the Diamondbacks are going to play for the first time this year, which is weird because as a division rival, you don't expect to not play a team for the first 2.5 months of the season, but it is June 13th, and they are finally going to have their first cracks at the San Diego Padres. And then later in the show, we will talk to Tricia Whitaker, who is going to be on the broadcast tonight for Apple TV+. That's where that game could be found on TV tonight. It's going to be on Fox tomorrow on the Saturday night game, so it's going to be a lot of national eyes on Chase Field this weekend as the Diamondbacks play the Padres. So without further ado, let's go to the screen right now. So the Diamondbacks and Padres, right? The National League West has been pretty bunched up at the top for most of the season, and for the Padres, right now, they are 2 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers with a 38-29 record. They just lost 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers earlier this week at Petco Park. So let's go through what has made the Padres successful and what are some of their shortcomings so far this season. So, as I mentioned, they are 38-29. The Diamondbacks are 34-34. The Padres right now own the 3rd wild card spot. So the D-backs are 4.5 games back of a playoff spot, and the Padres are the team that they have to catch right now. There's a few in between that they're going to have to jump, but this is a good opportunity for the Diamondbacks to really gain some ground potentially in the wild card race and build off of what they were able to do against Seattle over the week when they were able to sweep their interleague foes. So let's go to stats, and specifically, let's look at the team stats. Let's keep it as kind of general and overview as we can. We're going to stick to MLB.com and the Padres page on Baseball Reference for now. It's FanGraphs and Baseball Savant and all that, but we're just going to keep it as simple as we can right now. So let's go to team stats and see where they're at. So for the Diamondbacks, currently 4th in the league in scoring with 346 runs through 68 games. You got to go down a little bit for the Padres. They are 20th in the league in runs, which may be a little bit surprising given the star power, and we'll kind of dig into some more specifics on why that may be the case later. In doubles, the Diamondbacks are 2nd. For the Padres, you got to go down to 23rd. Home runs this season, the Diamondbacks are 3rd, only trailing the Yankees and the Dodgers, while the Padres, you got to go down to 26th in the league with only 57 home runs overall. Team batting average, the Diamondbacks are 6th, the Padres are 15th. Team OPS, the Diamondbacks are 3rd, again behind the Yankees and the Dodgers, while the Padres are all the way down at 20th. So what is sort of the situation here? Why is that the case? Let's go to their Baseball Reference page as a team. Now, we're going to use OPS Plus just to kind of keep this simple. It's a metric that puts everybody on an even playing field. 100 is league average. It factors in, ballparks that teams play in. So it's just kind of a good way to compare teams on different players on different teams who play in different environments. So let's go to that. Manny Machado is having an unbelievable season, and kind of similar to what the Diamondbacks face with the Mariners and Cal Raleigh. There's very clearly like a guy who's hotter than everybody else that you're going to have to watch out for, and that is Manny Machado. Jake Cronenworth's had a good year. Missed a little bit of time, but is back now. Jackson Merrill, same deal, had a really good year. Missed a little bit of time, but he's healthy. Fernando Tatis Jr., 120. That's still good. It's a little bit lower than you'd think for Fernando Tatis Jr., but at the same time, that's, it's nothing to be alarmed at by any means. He's still a very good player. And then Gavin Sheets has been pretty good for them overall. But once you get past kind of the top of the lineup, as you can see by some of these numbers, again, league average is 100. They really start to dip down, and that's sort of the top heaviness of this lineup and where that comes to shine. And, when you look at what they were able to do recently, let's go from year to date to the last 15 days, the last 2 weeks, the Padres are last in the league with a 604 team OPS. Go to player, all teams, go down to the Padres, and let's go last 15 days and look at some of these OPSs. Manny Machado, 990. He's on fire. He's hitting 346 in the last 2 weeks. But then you go down, Luis Arias has been struggling a little bit. He's only hitting 231 in this span. Xander Bogaerts is just barely hitting over the Mendoza line. Shea Cronenworth is a little bit under the Mendoza line. Jackson Merrill's hitting 240, but not quite the same power you'd expect. Fernando Tatis is hitting below the Mendoza line at 190. So, it's a Padres team with a lot of star power, but kind of similar to the Mariners, it's a top-heavy lineup with one guy who's hitting a little bit better than everybody else. And so they're really going to have to watch out for Manny Machado this weekend in particular. They have a lot of more dangerous hitters, but he's the guy to watch out for. Let's go to the pitching, because this is where the Padres have really shined this season. So overall in team ERA, the Padres are 6th at 344 this year. The Diamondbacks, you have to scroll down to 25th because they're 477. WHIP, the Padres are 11th in the league in batting average against. They are 4th in the league, tied with the New York Mets at 226. Again, the Diamondbacks, you have to kind of scroll down towards the bottom there. They are 18th in batting average against, and in WHIP, the Diamondbacks are 22nd. So there's a huge gap in the Diamondbacks offensively versus the Padres offensively in production this year. But at the same time, there's a huge gap in the Padres pitching staff versus the Diamondbacks pitching staff this year. And a huge reason for this is because the Padres bullpen might be the best in the league. Let's split it up to... I think I might have passed it here. Let's see. Let's go back down to reliever. ERA for relievers. The Padres are 3rd at 314. The Diamondbacks are all the way down to 27th at 521. And let's go to this bullpen because it's pretty stacked. Robert Suarez, their closer, leads the league with saves, with 21 of them. Jason Adam, who leads the league in appearances, has a 1.59 ERA. And you just look down, Jeremiah Estrada's had a good year, and Yuki Matsui and Adrian Morejona's lefties have had good seasons. It's a deep bullpen, and it's not a team you want to be trailing going into the later innings. Starting rotation, it's a little bit banged up. Michael King is not available. He's on the injured list. Yu Darvish is also on the injured list. Dylan Cease, who has been turning it around, he'd just come off a really good start against the Dodgers. He's not going to be pitching this weekend at Chase Field. Who the Diamondbacks are going to have to worry about is Stephen Kolek in the first game, and then the Padres' biggest offseason acquisition for their rotation, Nick Pivetta. He's going to be the Sunday starter. So let's highlight Stephen Kolek first, because that's who the Diamondbacks are going to see first. As you can see, he's 7 games pitched this year. He's got a 3.00 ERA. His last 2 starts have both gone for 5 2/3 innings with no earned runs this season, which have, obviously helped his numbers. Before then, he was struggling clearly a little bit, but he's kind of on a hot streak right now. 3.00 ERA, a 3.98 FIP. If you're familiar, it's fielding independent pitching. It's kind of a predictor of performance. So perhaps he's getting a little bit fortunate. And you go down to advanced here. He's not a guy who's going to strike out a lot of guys, 16.8% compared to league average, which is up over 22%. Walks, he's at 9.2%, which is a little above average as well. So that's who the Diamondbacks are going to be facing in the first game. And then Nick Pivetta has had a great year, 13 starts, 3.48 ERA. That's who they're going to see in the finale. For the Diamondbacks, it's going to be Ryan Nelson in the opener, followed by Zach Gallen, and then Merrill Kelly. So, in terms of, name recognition, the Diamondbacks are going to have the advantage pitching-wise. Sunday's pitching matchup should be fascinating between Kelly and Pivetta. But yeah, it'll be Kolek versus Ryan Nelson, who's going to look to bounce back in the opener. So looking at all of this and kind of deciding, who the Padres are, where they're at. Oh, I guess one more thing I did want to highlight, because this is interesting. The Padres just lost 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. But look at some of their scores. It just in the past, 3-ish weeks. Lost by 1, win by 1. That was a blowout. Win by 2, win by 1, win by 2, lost by 2, win by 1. That was a little bit more of a blowout. Win by 2, win by 1, win by 1, lost by 1, lost by 1, win by 2, lost by 1, win by 1, lost by 1. A lot of close games for this Padres team that they've had to battle through. So looking at all of this, kind of my takeaways are it's kind of similar to the Mariners in the sense that you don't want to be trailing going up against their high leverage relievers who are really good. And in the Padres' case, having a Jason Adam 8th inning and a Robert Suarez 9th inning, that's really dangerous. So you do not want to be trailing this team going into the late innings, because they've done a really good job this year of locking it down. And then you look at the lineup, it does fall off. And the Padres have been, linked to Jarren Duran of the Red Sox as a possible trade target. And left field has clearly been an area where people are anticipating that they're going to want to look. So, you look at the lineup, it's top heavy. You look at the rotation, the Diamondbacks aren't going to be facing, a ton of experienced guys this series. They will see Pivetta in the third of the game. But Kolek, as I mentioned, he only has he's only got 7 starts this season, and in the second game, they're going to be facing against Ryan Bergert, who only has 2 starts this season. 6 games pitched, 2 starts. So in terms of experience, it's not the most experienced starting rotation. I think the key for the Diamondbacks is to strike early and get to them and not allow that back end of the bullpen to shorten the games. And for the Diamondbacks pitching, they're going to have to make quick work out of the bottom of the Padres order and not kind of set the table for some dangerous hitters at the top. So Diamondbacks, Padres, as I mentioned, the Diamondbacks are 4.5 games back of San Diego, who are the third and final wildcard team at this point in the season. And so it should be kind of an interesting kind of test for them to see where they're at, because they swept Atlanta, they get swept by Cincinnati, and then they go on and sweep the Mariners. Can they keep that same level of, clean baseball, quality starting pitching, get into your bullpen? The bullpen, other than that one inning from Jeff Brigham, had looked much better in this series against the Mariners. We are still waiting on the news for Justin Martinez, and we'll see. And I think everybody's kind of bracing for worst case scenario with him, but we'll see what happens. But what's clear is that they're not going to have him for a long time. And I think that at this point in the season, we're getting closer to the middle of summer. The All-Star break is in a month. The trade deadline's at the end of July. Starting to stack series wins right now will put you in a more positive place when you're looking at what to do with this roster when the trade deadline does come along. So this is a big series to kind of kickstart that. So with that, we will go to Tricia Whitaker, who is going to be the sideline reporter for Apple TV Plus tonight at Chase Field, and see what she has to say about this potential matchup here. Tricia Whitaker from Apple TV Plus joins the show. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes before tonight's game at 6:40. Just wanted to get your quick thoughts on kind of the storylines that you're watching for with the Diamondbacks and Padres, because they haven't played each other, and it's June 13th, which seems a little strange for a couple of division rivals at this point.
Yeah, I was reading that. I was like, wait, they haven't played each other? That is a weird feeling at this point in the season. You would think that they would have, but I think it's going to be a good matchup. Look, we know that this is a really tough division. The Padres are, they're coming off a 3-game sweep of the Mariners to get back to, the Diamondbacks are coming off a 3-game sweep of the Mariners to get back to 500. They've won 7 of their first 10 games in June after a really tough end to the month in May. So I think this is going to be really telling for the Diamondbacks specifically, because it's a crucial part of the season for them. The next few weeks are going to be pivotal to the future, as they kind of decide whether to sell off their core assets or build for a postseason run. And I think what they've done to start June might make some people a little bit hopeful for them compared to what they did at the end of May specifically. But we'll see. And so I think this series is going to be really, really telling for the Diamondbacks.
Sure, and it's going to be in front of a lot of people. Obviously, it's a national TV game. Same thing on Saturday night as well. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on this Diamondbacks team. Obviously, Corbin Carroll gets a lot of national attention, deservedly so. And Ketel Marte being an MVP finalist last year. Who are some other guys that you kind of have your eyes on and sort of looking forward to watching, getting to know, and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, I think one is pretty obvious. It's Suarez. I mean, he helped the Diamondbacks complete that sweep of the Mariners with that 6th inning go-ahead grand slam on Wednesday. It was his 3rd of the season, I think. That was insane. And, he leads the Diamondbacks with 52 RBI. And I think that he is a really exciting player to watch. Obviously, you mentioned some of the others that are really exciting to watch. Corbin Carroll. We actually had the Diamondbacks on Apple TV not too long ago, and I interviewed Corbin Carroll actually for the first time, which is wild that I've never interviewed him before. But I really enjoyed getting to know him a little bit more. But yeah, I think Suarez, Perdomo, he's really exciting to watch. Everybody knows he has a fun personality. I'll be interviewing him tonight before the game as well. We're actually going to have Corbin Carroll on a Talkback IFB during the game too on the Apple broadcast. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, I would say definitely Suarez. He's somebody that I really enjoy watching. But I'm really looking forward to watching this entire lineup, because really when you look at this team and what they've got, it's not a lack of power right now. You look at it and it's their pitching.
Yeah, right. And for Suarez, I think the record is 6 grand slams in a season. So if they keep getting him some opportunities with the bases loaded, right? It's amazing that he's already got them. All right. One question about the broadcast itself. I'm sure you get asked about the in-game interviews with managers all the time, but what is kind of the key for you as a reporter to get, something good out of a manager who's so locked into the game?
Well, not only are they locked into the game, but they're not going to give away any like game secrets. You know what I mean? That's the most challenging part of an in-game interview with a manager. To make it worth it, you have to ask something almost like, I don't know how to explain it. There has to be, the game has to go your way for a couple innings. There has to be some exciting plays, or else literally the only thing there is to ask about is the pitching. And the interviews happen in the second and the third inning. So you got to get creative. It depends on the manager, right? So some managers will have a little bit of fun with me. You have to gauge their personality. So Brian Snitker with the Braves, he's always a great manager interview. You never know what he's going to say. But then there are some guys who do these manager interviews, and I'm like, you could not possibly be more serious right now. Like Kevin Cash with the Rays notoriously hates in-game manager interviews, but he used to always do them with me because I was their sideline reporter for 6 years. But he won't do it with other people because he hates it. So you got to gauge the manager's personality and pray that something exciting happens during the first couple innings for you to ask him about it. Otherwise, you're just like, all right, Scooble's dealing on the mound. What you got, AJ? I mean, it's just like, but I still think it's entertaining and good insight when you can get a good manager interview in the game.
Absolutely. Hopefully something happens early on that you can ask about because, that seems like a kind of an interesting kind of dynamic to be out there on the field. Last one, because I know you have to go. Pacers are up 2-1. I know you're a big Pacers fan. How are you feeling going into tonight?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I'm feeling a little bit sad that I can't be there. I was there for game 3 when they won. I used to intern for the Pacers way back in college. They gave me my first web reporting job. I was 21 years old running around in the Eastern Conference Finals. They were playing the Heat. So I was like interviewing LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Paul George, all those guys. That was my introduction to sports reporting. So they have a soft spot in my heart. I'm feeling really good about the Pacers. I'm feeling really good. The thing about it is, though, the Thunder, they're such a good team, and so I'm not gonna jinx anything, but I feel good about the Pacers tonight specifically. That home crowd is electric. It's energetic, and that city and that state. We live and breathe basketball there. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how obsessed we are with it. Even when our college teams aren't good, we sound like those crazy people. We're like, yeah, they're going to be good this year. No, they're not. But we're obsessive. So that city and that state, they are pining for a championship, and I feel pretty good about tonight.
Definitely on the bucket list to go watch a game there because I haven't been to that arena quite yet, but the atmosphere seemed amazing in game 3. I'm sure it will be in game 4. Tricia, thank you so much for taking a few minutes before tonight's broadcast to chat about the game.
Anytime, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much to Tricia for joining us. As I mentioned, the Diamondbacks are going to be on Apple TV Plus their first game. The second game is going to be on Fox, and then it will be back to DBacks.tv for Sunday's finale. As always, all these games will be on 98.7 and the Arizona Sports app, so make sure to listen there as well. So thanks so much for listening to Ain't No Fang as the Diamondbacks get ready for a 3-game series against the San Diego Padres.